Today we would be learning how success and visual management are essential for our organization. You would also understand steps of implementation of visual management. Would like this session to be interactive as far as possible. So whenever you have any doubt, any question, just put across to me and I will take a pause and try to resolve your queries as soon as possible. But before we start our session, I would like to give a brief about myself. I am Vikas Bajaj, Senior Counselor with CI Center of Excellence for Competitiveness of SMEs and having experience of more than 20 years in industry. So we will start. With the session. So welcome to the Visual Management webinar. In this opening module, we will discuss goals and objectives of visual management, benefits of the system success and visual management, and 4 phases of the visual management implementation. To start with, what is visual management charter? Visual management is to promote a workplace where all associates understand and manage their own work in a safe, clean, organized environment that fosters open communication, pride, and continuous improvement. That means visual management will support our organization and all our associates to be feeling pride and happy working in that organization. So what are the goals of visual management? Make everyone's job easier. They should be feeling happy and their job should be easy. Give all associates a degree of ownership in their work and pride. Increase communication by making information easier to understand. Every information should be made available to each and every person working in the organization, and he should be able to understand it with ease and take decision according to those information provided to him. Improve company overall success. When our communication improves, our members, our operators, our team members are able to understand what are our weaknesses, what are our strengths, then undoubtedly company will also improve and company success will be indebted to the visual management that we implement in our organization. The webinar objective is to understand the 4 phases leading to visual management, apply the concept and techniques for each phase, and understand how to use visual management and the benefit it offers. Now, before we proceed, I would like to put across a question to all of you. Is your company visual? And secondly, who speaks in our organization? Man, machine, method, or material? Ideally, every thing except man should speak in the organization. For example, material should speak where it came from, where it has to go, who am I, from since when I am lying over this place. Same is the case of machine also. Machine should be able to tell why she stopped, when she stopped, when was the preventive maintenance done, when was the last customer complaint came due to that machine, and what are the vibration level of that machine. So every object in the company organization should be speaking with respect to visual management except the man. So desired outcome of this is to create a sense of who we are, what we do, employ company standards to make key processes universally understood, make work decisions based on what we see. We always believe seeing is believing. So whatever we see and take our decisions according to that, that will be more effective, more acceptable, and more beneficial for the organization. And communicate always means communication should be from top to bottom, from bottom to top, and across all lines. Now, first of all, question arises: do we work in a visual workplace? I hope everyone says yes. But as we proceed during this webinar, we will be getting a more clear picture as to what visual workplace should be, ideally should be, and how we can bridge the gap between what we are today and what we will be needing to do, or we have to reach a target that we will be learning in this webinar. Now, what is our current situation in our organization? Or how would you describe your current workplace with respect to safety, with respect to workplace organization, with respect to process, people, data, and machine? When we say safety, so how would you describe safety in terms of visual management? Are our safety standards visible? Are our safety practices visible? How many safety days, how many safety months, how many safety hours we have been practicing is visible? So these all inputs should be visible in any form in the operation, and that we will be learning during this course. So what is visual workplace vision? Describe your vision of what the ideal workplace is like. It should be safe, clean, easily understood, managed to involvement by all, creates high quality standards, products, communicate progress, and generates pride. So in all, what we suggest is, in the visual workplace, anyone will easily know the who, what, when, where, why, and how in an area within 5 minutes. So the test is, these questions are being put to any stranger or new person, and if he is able to give the answer within 5 minutes, that means your company is near to visual management. And crux is, except man, everything in the company should talk. So when we return back after this webinar, or when we open after this lockdown, we should be asking ourselves whether everything in this company is talking to us or only man is talking. And if the gap is more, then we have to work more hard to make our company visual. Now, a question to put of you. You can see a half photo. This one also, this one also, this one also, this one also. So if you ask anyone, then he will be promptly able to reply that first photo of your Google, then is Nano, then is Coke, then is symbol of Toyota, then is the symbol of Kingfisher Airlines or Kingfisher. So anything we say share to you is simply implying one thing: a picture is worth of 1,000 words. So this is the crux of the visual management practices we follow. So what we see in one instance in a picture is more than 1,000 words. Now, when we say what are the 4 phases of a visual management, we start with the first is workplace organization. Then we say the visual display. Then the third phase is visual measures. And the fourth one is visual management. So we'll start from the top, from the bottom, and proceed one by one to the top, where our ultimate goal is for the visual management. But before we start, let us have a few idea of few definitions. What is workplace standards? The definition says object or practices should be considered to be a good example or model or workplace standards, and the standards should be established by general team consensus. That means whatever we do, our team consensus should be built upon making standards for the workplaces. So you can see all those photographs indicate one simple thing: stop. So language may differ, but the standards are common. So workplace standard offer these benefits. They are universally understood, assure quality and consistency, eliminate variation, and make abnormalities apparent. So what we have to do is, we have to first ensure that what are the standards available with our organizations. So what we have to do is, we have to focus more on building standards, and these standards should be made or defined or derived after a consensus within the team, so that these are easily followed and understood by each one of us. For example, red light, when we see, the symbols are standards. So wherever we go across the world, we found the same standards being followed. Same is the case of stop also. Same is the case of with no mobile, no smoking. So whatever you see, these standards are universal. So our baseline for this visual management is make standards first. So few questions to put up to you. How many of these standards are in your plant? Standard changeover clock. Or how many of these standards, for example, red box trap, are these red box traps standard in a plant? If no, then these standards need to be developed and put so that wherever a person goes in a plant, the same standards are being followed and same standards are visible to each one of us when we say we are following a visual management roadmap. TPM board may be used by many of us. Those TPM board also need to be standardized so that each and every zone, each and every place where we move, these zones must be having the TPM board which are standardized and are more identical. Downtime production display also, some of the standards we follow in our organizations that needs to be standardized, and these standards should be followed. Now, when we say visual management implementation, we have a module that is first phase is workplace organization. So we need to build a base wherein this visual management standards should be able to sustain. So first phase comes as workplace organization. Now, when we say workplace organization, it's a vital link to continuous improvement. And this link should be such that each and every person from doorman to chairman should be part of this organization structure, and each one should be able to contribute towards this goal of achieving a visual management and a safe organization in our plant. When we say workplace organization, our first step towards making work is 5S. When we say 5S, we say sort, stabilize, shine, standardize, and sustain. The first, as you must be knowing, is sort. So what sort says is keep what is needed, eliminate what is not, identify what is out of place, red tag, the dog corners and healing walls should be avoided. Here is an example of a good sorting wherein different type of tools are sorted according to their requirement. Then is red tag. I am running through this slides because I am assuming that these things will be more available to you so that we can get more time to discuss about visual management in later stages. So what we are suggesting is 5S organization structure is a base, so we should be having a few guidelines as to what 5S is actually required. Select a red tag leader, identify what is not needed, attach a red tag, move to holding area, determine time to hold, and move to faculty hold. So as you must be aware, red tag activity is called 1S activity also, wherein we identify a red tag leader. We go for a random identification of items which are not required. We attach a red tag to those items, move those items to a red tag holding area. Then we have a red tag committee which takes decision on those red tags, and if decision is not done within the time frame, then those items are shifted to faculty holding area. There are a few thumb rules of red tagging. If it's not used, it's used. If item is never used, give, sell, or throw away. Once a year, store in distant place. Once in a month, store in the faculty. Once in a week, store in the area. Once a day or more, keep at the workplace or near the workplace. Example of red tag. So before we move further, I would like to ask if any doubt with respect to how this visual management organization structure is being built, so that I can emphasize more if 5S is not clear or more requirement, more clarity is required by someone in respect to 5S. Otherwise, I will take this 5S activity a little fast so that we can focus more on that visual management activity. When we say 2S, 2S is stabilized and set in order. So if you can see in this organization, this photograph also, we are drawing lines as to where the operator should stand. We are putting up things where they are required. So 2S says a place for everything and everything its place. That means outlines, labels, shadow boxes are part of those 2S activity, and each and every item in our organization should be available at its place, and we should make such an arrangement wherein everything is going back to its place without human intervention or human know-how. Then dedicated design responsibilities with respect to color coded maps that tag readers and make everything easy to find, easy to use and return. And most importantly, zero asking, zero searching. So 2S says that if we have to ask something or we have to search something, that means our 2S need to be further strengthened. And each and every item in our organization should be kept at its place where it is easy to find, easy to use and easy to return. The 2S is a major building block for our organization to be further leading to the visual management practices. So few photographs I would like to share with you. Does this look well stabilized? Yes, because everything is put according to its requirement. Then there are the outlines or footprints wherein where to keep those items. And if there is outside that place, then it should be built inside so that it's good for safety also. And there are signboards. You must have seen in many organizations also, if you're in organization also, security department, press shop, these are few signboards which are come under a 2S category. One of the questions being put up is, would you please elaborate on color coding maps? Color coding maps means, for example, we have dies of few customers, different types of customers, and we want that our identification or those dies should be color coding according to the customer wise. Okay, then what we do is we color code the dies according to customers and we put up a map indicating where those dies or are kept according to the customer, so that whenever we need to go for searching or identifying those areas, we are able to see a map wherein we can go according to that map to that place and find out what are the or where are the dies being kept. Simple example you could see in many of the colonies also. Whenever you enter a colony, you see a colony map being put over there, and those maps shows which are the sectors, which are those areas, which are the lanes, by lanes, according to the size of the plots, number, house number. So these are also an example of color coding maps wherein a new person coming to that area would be able to find out where he has to go and reach out to the place where he wants to go without the support of any other individual. Few examples of 2S. Now the third one is shine. When we say shine, shine means cleaning is inspection, making cleaning work every day, assign responsibilities, rotate cleaning responsibilities, utilize downtime and help others, and cleaning with meaning. So when we say cleaning with meaning in respect to shine, we don't want that the operator should be only cleaning the machine. Cleaning the meaning means he should be also able to identify what are the abnormalities being observed in the machine, and those abnormalities should be removed immediately so that he could be able to see what are the difference between yesterday and today. For example, you must have seen a person coming to your place for cleaning the car, and you also someday are cleaning the car off by yourself. So what is the difference between his cleaning and your cleaning? The basic difference is that he is cleaning the car only with the purpose of cleaning, but when you yourself clean the car, you do it with a meaning. Meaning means if you are able to find out something which was missing yesterday in your car, that means you are able to identify or take the gap between yesterday and today. So cleaning the meaning means we have to identify abnormalities and what are the changes between yesterday and today, so that that can be identified and eliminated. And that cleaning activity should be done every day. Maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes can be given to the operators, but those 10 minutes should be ideally utilized by the operator rather than doing only simple wiping up of the machine. Examples of good cleaning activities before and after. Here you can see before condition and after condition, where is that lot of changes have been seen with respect to cleaning and doing of 1S 2S activity. Bulb shine facility. The fourth is standardize. Now, one thing is very critical to our organization with respect to our place of working. When we say we should follow the practice of 1S, 2S, 3S, 4S, and 5S, it was devised in Japan and it worked very well in Japan. But when we tried or when we try in our organization, we see that when we implement in our organization, our implementation is not sustainable. For example, when we go from 1S to 2S or from 2S to 3S, we lose whatever we have gained in terms of 1S by the time we move to 2S, and whenever by the time we move to 3S, our 1S 2S activity is not able to sustain. So this is because we are not so much disciplined as such with respect to Japanese. So this standardized or 4S, though Japan tried after 1S, 2S and 3S activity, but what we suggest nowadays is that this activity should be immediately followed by 1S and 2S. So for example, if we are doing 1S, then we should be able to do 4S and 5S along with 1S rather than jumping to 2S. Or in other words, when we say 1S, so 1S we should be able to completely standardize and discipline should be followed. And once we are through with this 1S, 4S and 5S activity, then only we should move towards 2S. When we say 1S, we say we have to do red tagging. So that means red tagging needs to be defined as to when will be done, how will be done, who will do it, so that sustenance is being followed, and then only we should move to 2S. So standardize says red tag procedures, holding areas, cleaning procedures, location of items, operating procedures, these all should be standardized. For example, this a place for everything. So blue means dirty rags, red means which are used earlier. So these are color coding being used: red, blue, yellow. Communication, what goes where. So these are all types of standardization which will be following or which must follow to make our company more visual. Now the fifth that says sustain. Sustain it, make it a habit. It takes doing something 21 times before it becomes a habit. So recently you must have seen why Mr. Modi was giving 21 days of lockdown every time he is coming to our television. So 21 is the minimum time required to make it a habit. So if you want to do any activity and make our operator learn a new activity or new process or new SOP, he should be doing it 21 times before it becomes a habit. So if you go to any Japanese company and see, there is a minimum 25 days overlap given to a new operator before he is giving any assigned activity on the line. For 21 days, he is being allocated along with a skilled operator, where that operator sees and train him for 21 days, and for 4 days he is given a task individually to see whether he has achieved the result required or not. Then he is put to line. So that 21 days is a crucial time we should always remember before we do any activity in our plant. Normally what we do is we ask anyone or our operators to do activity once, twice, thrice, and if he doesn't follow or if he is follow, then we withdraw. But we have to make sure that 21 days is the time that we should be making review or following up with this activity. Second is proper training and communication, inform all employees. So what we do is we assume that whosoever is coming to our organization, an operator or a new person, he is knowing everything or he is aware of the facts regarding 5S and other safety procedures. But we should make it a habit and we should be having an SOP that whenever a person is coming for joining to our organization, he should be given a proper training and communication as to what our practices are, and then only he should be made to work in our shop floor area. Otherwise, all our efforts with respect to 5S or visual management will become zero, because that person will not be able to follow those guidelines and he will be making a mistake. Thirdly is support and cooperation from everyone. Look, whatever we are talking about right now is a team activity. So if until and unless each and every person in an organization is supporting this activity, then there is a possibility that this activity will die down if a new person is joining the team. So we should be able to make everyone cooperate, and this cooperation can be only coming to the team if we have good employee practices in our organization. So employee practices with respect to TI also are a building block to giving this vision of having a good 5S and visual management in our plant. Few examples to share. Visual ranges make it easier to sustain. You can see the minimum maximum range is defined in terms of, and a green shading is done at the indicator, so that everyone can see and define what is the actual ideal range required. Then it's a sustenance activity. Now what I was talking about is, I would like to show this in this slide. The earlier approach was first go to sort, then stabilize, then shine, then standardize, and then sustain. But this approach needs a modification, and we always recommend to go by this approach, wherein the first activity is sort, and after is standardize and sustain. Once you are through with it, then go towards 2S, stabilize, then again follow the same rule, standardize and sustain, then again go for shine, and then standardize and sustain. So if we go by this approach, then your sustenance and efforts will be more visible and you will be able to get more benefit out of it. But what I am talking about right now is, when we go from 5S, we normally use only one sense. Sense means we have been given a 5 sense by the God. The sense are eyes, ear, skin, nose, and tongue. So when we do 5S, we normally use only one sense. Like sense we say is eyes. So whatever we see through our eyes, we are only using this capability of detecting abnormalities. But now this needs further improvement or needs further elaboration. So what we suggest is, we should be doing 5S with all our 5 senses. 5 senses means we should be able to see and develop a capability through our eyes to detect abnormalities. Second is, by our ears, hearing is a capability of ear to detect abnormalities. So if there is some noise is coming from a motor, that noise is not normal, then that is also should be identified in terms of abnormalities. Then third is smell. Smell means use of our nose as a third sense. So smell is a capability of nose to detect abnormalities. If there is foul smell, if we are not able to stand any location which is having a very nauseous smell, then that abnormality should also be detected. The fourth one is feel is a capability of body organ to detect abnormalities. So we should be able to, by touching at the workplace at some location, we must be able to detect abnormalities. If something is very hot or something is giving different types of feeling to our hand, then that abnormality should be detected by hand. And the fifth one is touch. Touch means you should be able to see and touch that what is the abnormality in that place. So these 5 senses now need to be utilized to its full capacity and capability to identify abnormalities, and then our working on 5S need to be redefined. So whatever we have done till now, we have used only one sense. So if we use all these 5 senses, then our abnormality detection capability will be very high, and so will be our ability to improve our workplace. There are many instances in our working. We have seen the companies which are at a very high level of 5S or at a world-class level of 5S. Then when they use these 5 senses to identify abnormalities, they were able to find abnormalities to the tune of 50,000 abnormalities at their workplace. And these were the companies which are considered to be excellent with respect to 5S. So one tool you should take away today is that we should be following 5S through our 5 senses. And when we go through these 5 senses, our abnormality capability will increase, and you will be able to detect more areas, identify more abnormalities, which will further help you improve workplace organization. So this is a check sheet we should always follow when we say we are going for workplace organization. 5S check sheet is one of the tools which we should follow. And the last one is audit. When we say audit, we should be always giving how much points that need attention at that workplace. So these are the few areas we need to work out with respect to 5S, and this 5S will support us building up our organization, workplace organization, which will be supporting our activities to the next level with respect to visual management. Now, when we say 5S, there are certain supportive strategies which we need to follow with respect to visual management. So first one is color coding, then is point of use, another one is safety. So we'll discuss one by one. When we say color coding is a fast, easy way to separate different items and to visually determine if something is displaced. Okay, so what we see when our small children are at home, we normally provide them blocks or different colors to build up different shapes. So color coding is the most easy and effective way of making people realize how to improve and what is being misplaced. So few examples are in our scrapyard. We go for color coding. For example, in manufacturing scrapyard, we give a color light blue. In tubing, maybe we give a yellow color. Mixed scrap, we give green color. Process scrap, so that by the looking at the color of the board or the indicator, we can see which type of scrap is being put up here. So one example, we also use this color coding in our pipes also. For example, fire protection system may be having a red color of the pipe, compressed air may be a green color, yellow gas, natural gas we could see in all our across India being supplied to our homes also. It has a standard color of yellow color. So natural gas is normally or most appropriately defined by a color of yellow. Then city water is blue. So these are the few examples we can use in our daily life in our organization to go for a more effective implementation of 5S, which will further help us in implementing of visual management. Example of pipe, where you can see different types of pipes having different colors, and each one is depicting a different type of fluid being flowing through it. Then color coding scrap hoppers. These are also examples which we can see in our organization, wherein different type of scraps are put in different color of bins, and that will be easy for the operator also. That will be easy for the picker also to identify and put in at appropriate location. As one of the participants were asking, this is the example of color coding dies, wherein the dies are color coded according to the customer wise, and a map is being developed wherein how to reach that place where the die is being kept is put up at a location at the entry of that store or location of that die areas. So if you go for yellow color coding, you will be able to track that location and see that yellow color dies means this customer dies are kept over this place, and we are able to identify without even asking or questioning anybody about those dies. The next point or the strategies we use to implement 5S is point of use. You must be looking for tools in your daily life. You must be seeing that many of the operators are searching for tools. The point of use strategy is used to remove those difficulties. That can be used to put up tools, part disposal, then operating procedures, lockout instructions, material finished goods, and information. So point of use strategy can be used in all of these to put tools, part disposals, operating procedures, information, and I will show you a few examples also how this POU is used in our daily life. For example, this is an example where a person is working on a machine and all the tools he is requiring for effective maintenance or working of that machine are kept near to his working area. So whenever he has to use for those tools, he will be able to put it, take out those tools from that board itself only and put it there back when not required. And his time is also saved. Also, our utilization of resources is optimum with respect to this POU. When you don't have enough space to keep those tools, people use mobile trolleys. This is an example I am showing to you. Therein tools are kept in the mobile station itself only, so that it can be taken to whichever place they are required. Fixture rotation. Some of the fixtures are on based on rotation basis. Wherein a same fixture can be put on three different sections, and whatever fixture is required, that can be put in the place of use, and we will be able to save space also and our time of changeover also. Information is also available on the shop floor itself only. The best example is that whatever information is required by the operator, by the customer, that should be made available at the place of location of working only. The point of use location is the best ideal location for putting up this information. Now the fifth, after 5S, the next 6S came is safety. And safety is of great concern when considering work-based organization and the 5S. So what we need to do is, we should have color-coded guards, labelings, sufficient room to exit the workplace. For example, one small exit for up to 9 operators should be made available. These are the few standards being followed by the industry, and these standards should be made implemented in our organization also. So safety should be the first practice that should be followed with respect to visual management. Signs put up at different locations regarding safety. Color coding. Then there are few sensors available with respect to safety. See that these are a few factors, a few examples we can say wherein safety is being given top priority by the organization, and 5S is always complemented or interlinked with safety. So when we say 5S, we always normally say 6S because safety and 5S are always clubbed together. So before we move to module 3, would like to ask anyone if any doubt is there, they may please ask. Otherwise, I'll move towards module 3 now. If any doubt, any clarity is required, please you may ask. Any question by anyone? Mr. Varun Toshniwal has put up a question. What is a typical good frequency of conducting red tagging? Look, Mr. Varun, ideally, when we start a red tagging activity for the first time in a plant, okay, so what we suggest is that you should go red tagging activity at least twice a month, and we should be having a fixed define strategy with respect to red tagging. For example, we should be suggesting that only we should suggest that which time we'll be doing red tagging activity and on what day we will be doing this activity. For example, we may suggest that we will be going for every second Saturday and fourth Saturday we will be going for red tagging, and the timing will be 11 to 12, for example. So that makes more standardized effort with respect to red tagging. Otherwise, what will happen is, if we give a instruction to a team that go for red tagging, then there is a possibility that those time and day will not match. So best way is to give a concentrated effort, and that effort should be defined by the management or the red tagging team, that when this activity will be done and how many hours or minutes will be required to do this activity, so that each one of the members in the plant should be made available that this is a time for red tagging activity and this will be a day for that activity, so that it gives a good result. But ideally, starting 2 days in a month, and if after few 2 or 3 months, we may go for 1 day in a month. Mr. Ajay Upadhyay has put up a question: why red tagging is required every time if we have already done the standardization for red tag? Look, Mr. Upadhyay, every month there may be production activity going in the plant. Okay, so when I was suggesting that only once in a month, after a few months you can go for 1 day, better would be that we go for red tagging every day. Red tagging every day means whatever rejection is being taken out during production or rework is being put out, it should be put in the red bin analysis. But to give a more concentrated effort, if that activity is not being followed on daily basis, 1 day is suggested, so that whatever waste is coming out of the system or the organization or whatever the daily production activities, then that can be taken out. Look, standardization. Mr. Ajay is asking, what is the benefit of standardization of activity? Look, standardization is required so that our activity is not being diluted on when we move towards 1S from 2S. So 2S from 1S. Normally what happens is, when we move towards 2S, people don't do 1S activity at all. They start forgetting those 1S concept, and they move towards 2S. When they move towards 2S or 3S, then they forgot 1S. So this activity of 1S is required, so that standardization is required, so that 1S activity goes on and on. There may be possibility that 0 red tag item is being taken out by the team, but standardization would help that at least team will be aware that during this 1 hour or 15 minutes of our 1 month schedule, we have to go for this 1S activity, and that will be supporting in effective implementation of 2S activity. Mr. Varun has asked, when doing red tagging, should we separate out red inventory related items and non-inventory related items? Look, red tagging can be in form of a normal red inventory also, non-inventory also. For example, inventory means whatever consumable we are using, so that can be also red tagged, and our machine also, which we are not using for many years or many months, that can also be red tagged. Is anyone facing some problem with voice also? I have been given a message by Mr. Ajay that voice is not coming. Okay, fine. So I'm moving forward with respect to module 3. So the second phase is visual display. So we'll discuss about visual display now. But before visual display, as I told you earlier, the best thing is to go for 5S. So once we are through with our 5S implementation, we are through with our organization being a 5S compliant or 5S adhered organization, we can go for a next step of, that is visual display. I will give an illustration. But before move forward, I would like to define what is visual display. It's a method to visually communicate important information in the workplace. That information can be with respect to safety, quality, operations, equipment, work environment, progress achievements. So all this information which our teammates may be requiring with respect to quality also, safety also, progress also, and achievements also. Achievement means whatever good is being done by the team, that should also be displayed so that motivation is always being carried out to the team. So these all come under visual display. The benefits we can say is it makes work safer and easier, makes standards visible, make problem recognizable, and creates a shared knowledge base. These all displayed benefits I will be sharing in the next slides also. So in simple words, you can see in this photograph, visual display tells others what is important to our company. So whatever you are displaying in your plant is important to you. So whenever a visitor comes to you and he says whatever he sees, what things are displayed on the line, that gives an idea that these things or these visual displays are important to you. And this slide you should always keep in mind while taking decisions what is required to be displayed and what is not required to be displayed. A simple illustration I will give with this photograph. Just look at this photograph and I will be pressing and giving some idea about it. So the first thing we need to do with this photograph or simple factory which I have tried to display over your screen is identification of territory, where we are standing. Is this weld shop? Is this press shop? Is this machine shop? Whatever the case may be, the first thing we should have is identification of territory. Then is identification of activities, resources, and products. What are you making? What are the activities we are doing? What are the resources we are using? That should be the second priority item for display in our workplace. Then the third is identification of team. Who are people involved in this activity and who are the people who are being used, or you can say who are the people who are actually working in this area where we are displaying this or producing those products. Next important thing is marking on floor. As I was telling earlier to you also, where to keep with respect to 2S and what things are to keep at which place, zero asking, zero searching, then this marking on floor will be very effective. So display should be where to keep raw material, where to keep FG products, where to keep WIP. These all should be displayed. Next is marking of tools and racks. So whenever person is going for bringing some tools with respect to changeover or some activity, he shouldn't be wasting time in searching. So that marking of tools and racks will be helpful to you to reduce searching time and also ineffectively helping you to reduce the changeover times or estimated time, because most of the time when we see during changeover, the time is going into finding of tools or dies which are required for the changeover. The next is identification of technical area. That means which are the areas of technical areas which we are using in this section. Identification of communication and rest area. So wherever we are having a communication or rest area defined for our team, where they have tea or coffee or lunch, whatever is the case may be, that area should also be defined, and there should be a communication medium available to them so that whenever they are sitting on the rest area, they should be able to get the inputs which you want to get them to know. Next is identification of information and instruction. So whatever information is required to be shared with the team in that area, that needs to be displayed on the line itself. As I told you, everything should speak rather than man. So these inputs I am giving to you will be able to help you to let things speak for you rather than the man speak for them. Identification of neatness, broom. Normally when we go to any organization, we see the cleaning tools are not defined any specific location. So what we suggest is identification of neatness or broom should also be there in your workplace plan, visual management plan, visual display plan, so that each and every activity needs to be displayed and defined. Next is identification of manufacturing instruction and technical procedures. How to produce, what to produce. These all inputs should be made available to the team on the line itself. And he shouldn't be going to different places to identify or look for these inputs if required. Then if you are using computer terminal, also on the display that we should be having in our organization. Next is identification of production schedule. So what is being produced, how much to produce, what will be the next production item to produce, what are the production targets for today, what are the customer demands. This all should be visible in your shop floor. Sometimes we see operator is standing for the instructions from the team manager or the supervisor. What should he do in for next loading, on what should he produce after this loading gets over. So these inputs which we normally get from the team manager or the supervisor, that should be visible. Otherwise, lot of time is getting wasted with respect to waiting, and that is one of the worst muda we see in our industries, wherein people are waiting for the instruction to be given to them, and then only they will be proceeding to the next task. Technical area, someone asked me what is the technical area. Technical area may be that sometimes we see that we have a small tool room attached with our workplace, wherein some technical inputs or some technical requirements with respect to tools are required. Or there may be an area which may be, for example, quality lab may be there, small quality lab may be there, wherein this quality lab may be supporting the activities being done at production area. So technical area means whatever supporting activities are required to get the production activity being done at the shop floor level. Then we have identification of maintenance schedule. Now, normally we see the maintenance schedule is not displayed at our shop floor area. That is being put in under files by a person who is the maintenance head or maintenance person, who brings on demand those files if required and if demanded by someone from the team. So those files are confined to the almirahs only or racks only, but ideally it should be that identification of maintenance schedule should be displayed in the line itself only, so that operator also knows what maintenance on what schedule is being followed, and when his machine being asked for maintenance, so that he can plan his activity accordingly and hand over the machine to the maintenance team. Otherwise, what happens is whenever a maintenance person comes to the shop floor to ask for some machine, the simple reply is that since if the machine is under load right now, they cannot go for this maintenance, and finally maintenance schedule is not adhered. The next is identification of inventories and work in progress. So where are our inventories being kept, where are our material work in progress is kept, how many materials are required, what is the minimum level, what is the maximum level, where this material will go, all should be defined and made visual, so that no one is bothering to tell the helper or the people who are involved into material transportation that this needs to be sent where. Identification of monitoring signals for machine. So you must be having seen 3 types of different color monitoring signals are being defined over there. So what red means, what yellow means, what green means, that should also be defined. Identification of SP charts. Some of the companies may be using SP charts, so that also need to be defined and identified, so that the operator can fill up those SPC charts, and by visualization of those SPC charts, we can see whether our process is under control or not. Then another item or other visual display what we must be having is identification of records of problem. So operator should be able to record whatever problem he is facing with respect to working, so that these problems are later helping us to identify areas of improvement. Normally what happens is these are recording or data collection is weak, and so our maintenance or breakdowns are higher. So this identification of records of problem will help us to identify our areas of improvement, and so will be able to help us identify and improve our problems. Identification of objective results and differences. Now, objective results and differences means we should be able to display on the shop floor that what are our objective for a day, for a week, for a month, how we paired with respect to those objectives, what are the gaps between our expectation of the management or the objectives and what we have to achieve, and those differences will help us to identify areas of improvement and our further improvement plans. So these gap analysis, if done on regular basis at the shop floor level, will help us to improve our organization in a more effective way, efficient way. So I was telling what was improvement activities will be defined and coming out of those gaps and differences, and those improvement activities or small group activities which we are following should be also displayed on the line, so that on daily basis the team can come over there and see what their efforts are being done and what are the outcomes of those efforts are there or not. So this board will help us to identify areas of improvement also, and will be helping us to see whether our efforts are going as per plan or not. And lastly, but not last, identification of company projects and mission statements. So whatever the company projects are there, whether the company mission statement is their quality policy, these should also be displayed. So in turn, what I would say is there are 20-point agenda we should be following with respect to identification and visual display. And this 20-point will be able to give you much better visuality, better visual display, and that will be helping the team and the company as such to go for a more robust improvement plans. So these were the 20 points which are suggested, but many of the companies also go for further improvements also, which I will be sharing with you in the subsequent slides. Let's see and note some good examples which the companies are doing, and that the good example will be helping you out to identify which are the good practices, best practices you can see and implement in your organization also. So designation location examples indicate danger, set limits, status, what, where, how many. So few examples I will be sharing with you. For example, P is not parking over here. So this is an example of one of the examples of designated locations. Then we have this location exclusively for fire safety. You can see fire safety box is there, and there is a covering over there, and a red and white enclosure is being built over there, which says that this is the location exclusively for safety. Designated location example, one of them may be component Kanban, what, where, how many. So you can see what means what is kept over here gives a signal, where means where it decides to go, and how many means how many bins of this article should be kept at this place. So this gives an example as to how many items can be kept at the minimum this location. That is minimum maximum level is already defined, and also what is the next location they have to be shifted. So this all gives an indication to the person to carry out his activities. Floor labeling, you can see labeling is done on the floor wherein the trolleys or bins are kept over there, and the operator needs to need to ask anyone where to this material needs to be kept, and he is following what is being displayed. No lift struck beyond this point. So one of the more example. Now, before we go for designated location, there are certain guidelines we need to follow. First is determine appropriate location for all needed items. So when we have done 1S, 2S, 5S activity, we must be doing what is the appropriate location for all items that are required. So once we are done with this activity, next is designate location for type and correct number of items needed. So what are the types of those items that will be kept over here, and what will be the minimum maximum items or numbers that also need to be defined, because minimum maximum level will be able to help us to define our inventories also, and help people recognize by visual only that whether the production needs to be done further or need to be stopped as the items is already kept in the required quantity. Post visual indicators. Visual indicator means you can go for RYGB concept: red, yellow, green, blue. Red suggests this item is at replacement state. Yellow means need to be reordered. Green means it is in optimum quantity. Blue means is over quantity. So this RYGB concept can also be used to identify whether this item is required or not, and create ways to recognize at a glance when items are out of place. So this red color coding will define and will be an indicator to the team that this item is out of place and needs to be replenished immediately, otherwise our production may come to a standstill. So instead of counting items each and every time, we should be able to see and visualize whether this item is required or not required. Normally what happens is, when inventory is done, we take 10 days and n number of staff to get our inventory done, but our visual management should be such that inventory should be done in within 2 hours, and if material should speak for itself, how much I am being kept and how much quantity I am carrying. Next is make visual display easy, convenient, and manageable. So whenever we go for visual display, one thing we should be keeping in mind is it should be convenient and manageable. That means the team should be able to follow it with ease at all. Otherwise, if it is difficult to manage, difficult to follow, then there is a possibility that the team would not be able to follow. So our aim should be easy, convenient, and manageable display of all items. For example, if you can see in this yellow marking, you can see there is a concept that 4 to 5 inch thickness of gangway marking should be done. Okay, and there should be a fixed standard of maintaining those yellow lines. So that can be one of the examples. Another example is work display, instruction display at the shop floor level itself only. Operator can see the work instruction, work accordingly. Then there is an information board. Then is a checklist also. So the operator need to go to any other place to see or do his activity. All the information required is made available to him at the shop floor or the workplace level itself only. And that is a good example wherein the operator needs to get everything what is in required input is required. He will be able to see at the sitting at the workplace itself only. Raw material boundary samples. These are examples of raw material also. Set quality standards, operator make quality decisions. So use photo when actual samples are not practical. So sometimes it happens that we are not able to get samples out of this. So what we can put is we can use actual photographs, and these actual photographs are more, you can say, more easy to understand to the people, and that will be helping us to gather things done. Then there are information boards. These are put at the shop floor level. So these information boards are inputs to the team, whether they are moving at the right pace, right, as the management has set the objectives. So these objectives can be redefined. These are examples. Then there are visual displays as a voice to our visitors also. So we can go for this type of displays wherein whenever a visitor comes to our company, he may be able to see what good thing we have done. He may be able to recognize team achievements, and we are as a team can feel pride in this, that whatever we have done is being showcased to our visitors and potential customers, and he will be able to also get a feeling that the company is following such good practices wherein all good activities are being displayed and shown to the customer. Then there is an example of team territory. Team territory means wherever the people are having lunch or tea break, then these displays are given to them, boards are being put over there wherever there is possible, and these boards gives us the team the idea as to how they are performing with respect to company objectives and what are the areas they need to improve upon. This team directly is a place actually to hold shift startup meetings, identify teams, exhibit products made, communicate team goals, and display team accomplishment. So this is an example wherein you can also put up a team territory, wherein you can put up all the required information in terms of visual to the team so that they can see and visualize as to how the team is performing, and wherever there is a possibility of correction or improvements required, they can go for this improvement. And also some good examples of accomplishment should be also put up so that who have done good activity, good work, they should also be feeling pride that this activity is being done by them. Some of the companies also put up displays of the products also for the customers, so that whenever a customer comes over there, they are able to see what products they are making and what are the products they can offer to them if required in terms of new product avenues. Now, how to implement visual display? The first step is identify subject to focus on, what we want to do. Next is identify problems or success associated with the subject. So whatever problems or successes are associated with the product or subject we want to display, that needs to be identified, and those subjects or problems need to be highlighted in that visual display area. Next is identify the audience for visual display. We want to display for ourselves, for visitors, for team. That identification needs to be done prior to what we want to display. So something we want to display for our operator, then we have to do at a different thought process. If you want to display for a team at a middle management level, then there is a different visual display level, and if you want to go for the customer level, then there is a different. So we have to first identify the audience or people who wish to display these visuals. Choose the best location for the display. The display should be ideally at a place wherein everyone can see while walking or having tea or dinner, whatever the case may be. Develop and test the display. Once we have put up the display, then we need to test also whether the display we have put up is actually supporting the cause for which it is put up. Sometimes it happens we put up a display and the target audience or the people for which we have put up this display are not able to understand it or are not able to make full use of it. So we have to test also whether the display is actually of good use for them or not. If not, then we must go for further improvements. Then improve, finalize, and implement the display at the location we have best suited, identified for the audience we have targeted. Remember, your visual display tells others what is important to a company. So this is a gist of the story for this visual display module, that whatever you will display, that means that those things are important to your company, whether it is for customer, whether it is quality, whether it is safety, whether it is productivity, and these all need to be displayed. So before we move further, any question with respect to this module? Mr. Heather is asking the same question as put up by Mr. Tamid also. Could you please elaborate on color coded maps? Okay, Mr. Heather, I've spoken about it. The color coding maps are one of our tools to identify items or material required, okay, at a much faster rate. So for example, we have put up dies at a location, and these dies are in hundreds of numbers, okay. So what we do is we identify racks or dies according to the color of the customers. For example, we have 10 customers or 20 customers or 40 customers. We identify the dies or the racks according to those customers. So what we do is we put up a map of that store at the entrance of that store, and we define colors for each customer and define a map of that location wherein the color of the map will be able to support you in getting to the place where your dies are kept. Okay, so the color coded maps will be able to help you out to identify which customer you want to go reach out to, which dies you want to reach out to. This color coding maps will be helping you in terms of identification of the area with respect to colors. Otherwise, by going by the number of dies or by the number of customers, it becomes difficult. So if we are having 20 colors in a color coding map, we want to go for yellow color. Then the yellow color will be easy to identify and reach out to. So this map helps us in that case. You must have seen certain map being put up in the colony also. Colony means where people are living. So you can see over there that if there is a plot of, for example, small plots are there, big plots are there, bigger plots are there. So the plots, smaller plots are given a different color code. For example, 50 square yard is given a orange color code, 200 square yard is given a yellow color code. So if you are standing at a certain location, if you want to reach out to the person who is living in a 50 yard plot, so you will be able to see that orange color means 50 color. So you have to identify that this is the area I have to reach out. That is the example of one of the color coding being used in the colonies. So that's why the name is given as colony color maps. Any other question, please? Any other question? Okay. To we move forward. The third phase is visual measures. When we say visual measures, we will discuss about user data we collect, seeing is believing, measurement tools, effective data displays, peer charting, and how to develop meaningful measures. The first question arises is, why do we measure measurement data? The answer would be to make informed decision about our operations, to keep management and shop floor associates informed of progress, to derive and fine tune our improvement activities and educate the plant community. That means whatever data we are collecting in our plant, that data is being used to identify gaps, come out with the improvement plans, go to that improvement activities, and then after that activities are completed, then sharing with the team for horizontal deployment. So the punchline is, if you are not going to use data, don't collect it. What we see normally is, we find number of people are involved in our teams who are collecting data, and those people are using tons of papers to collect data. But when we see that whether this data is being used or not, then the question normally remains unanswered, because whether either the data is being kept in those papers itself only, or they are put up in our systems, and from their systems only few people are able to retract those data and use for themselves. So the purpose of visual measures is to use those data that we collect in a meaningful form and use for the upliftment and improvement of our activities, and that data should be made available to everyone so that everyone can see what is the gap we are having. The next point is seeing is believing. Effective analysis requires effective reporting, and how we report and display data will affect how we think about it. That means whatever data we are collecting on the shop floor, that data needs to be accurate and effective, because if the reporting is not effective, then our outcomes will also be not effective. Also, if the data is not analyzed properly or reported properly and is not displayed at the right location for everyone to think upon it, our thought process will be different, and it will not be able to, we will not be able to get a team effort out of it. So seeing is believing means whatever we see and whatever is being shown to the team with respect to accurate data and analysis, that will be bringing more concentrated team effort from all of this. So what we do measure? We measure PPM, training, downtime, floor space, lost time accidents, processor capability, changeover time, manufacturing scrap, and supplier quality. So we measure lots of things at our shop floor level. But do we really analyze or display those things on the shop floor for people to see where we stand, what are our gaps? That needs to be analyzed by each one of us. To increase information value, it's always better to ensure data accuracy, as I was telling earlier also. Put information in a graphical form. Wherever possible, it should be the information in such a form that it is made easy available to them and also easily understood. So graphical form is always considered better to be in terms of understanding. So put information in a graphical form will be easy also. Place it where the works get done. The nearer to the place the data is displayed, the better it is. Because sometimes it happens when we talk to the people working on the shop floor or the operators, they are not even aware what the problems are. They will only say quality person knows what our quality issues are, or the production team will say we are only about knowing about this much only, other details are in the system. So these things should be avoided. It's always better that we put up our displays at a place where this actual working is going on. This will help us to track improvements also, and also help us to keep the data current also. For example, you must have seen, must have put up some hourly production display graphs or displays at your shop place. So what the operator does is, after 2 hours, 3 hours, he put up location or actual figures he put up at that place. So that data is not current. That data is not effective, because if something is happening in the first hour and he is not reporting and putting up the data after 3 hours, then that 2-hour production may be getting hampered or the quality may get hampered. So that data, whatever we are putting up the shop floor, should be effective and online or current. And it is only possible to have a current data if everything is displayed on the line and not on the systems or not in the files we could put up in our racks. For example, visual counters. This is an example of visual counter wherein a person is working on the line and he is able to see what was his target, what he could achieve, and what are his shortcomings. So this will be effective because the operator can actually work upon the shortcomings immediately and can try to rectify or make out to the production losses he has already incurred by himself or by any other reasons. But if the data is not available to him, he must be working regularly or normally at his own pace, and that pace would not be able to help us to get the output what we are intending to. This visual counters also an example as to how live or current information can be given to the team. Another example is downtime, breakdown time, changeover time. So these can be all displayed on the line so that each one of us are aware. You can see the last below the photograph, it's 3 indicators are given: blue, red, and yellow. That blue suggests forklift. That means forklift is required at a location. Red means there is a breakdown over that workstation, and yellow means that changeover is taking at that workstation. So even sitting in the office or someone who is walking around in the shop floor can able to see that forklift requirement is coming at which place, which machine is under breakdown, and what is the changeover. Normal times what happens is when we see the report in the evening, we find that this machine was under breakdown for 45 minutes. And when we ask our team, okay, why didn't you tell this to the top management? He keeps mums, because he was also busy in getting the rectification of that breakdown, and he was not able to communicate to the team that this machine is breakdown for 45 minutes. So this visual display will be able to help the top management also to see where their intervention is required, and they can easily intervene at the appropriate time and get the breakdown down, reduced by early intervention. Safety first, you can see safety boards put up in the places also. How many days without a loss accident, best how many days was without accident. So make safety records visible, perform regular audits, display lost time injuries on the shop floor itself only, and keep track of where, when, why, and how accident happened. Normally what we see is when there is a safety committee meeting going on, so they do what is post-mortem. Post-mortem means whenever the accident has happened, they try to get the things, find out as to why accident happened, what went wrong, and all these things. The safety committee should be having a focus that why accident happened is their second priority. The first priority should be the making the shop floor safe, and that can be done by regular audits also. Okay, and going by the team inputs with respect to near miss or lost time, all these things. So this all things should be displayed and kept in mind. Now the next topic we would like to discuss is business operating system, and we term that versatile means it's on regular basis. The BOS chart can wear many hats: visual display, problem solving tools, progress indicators, and assigned responsibility. So what is BOS, business operating system? For the BOS to work efficiently is follow these steps to use BOS for visual measurements. The best reason to include BOS starting with measures is because BOS requires action. That means whatever we have displayed or measured, if it's not requiring action, that means that display is not working effectively for us. So what we have to do is first identify key measurables for business operating system. That is, what are the measurables we need to identify, and data needs to be collected for those key measurables. Then the second step is data analysis. So whatever data we have collected for measurables, we need to analyze as to what are our shortcomings, where we failed, where is a gap. Then third step is improvement activities. We need to define improvement activities with respect to those gaps, and then is improvement tracking to sustain whatever improvement we have done with respect to BOS. So this is an example of BOS on the line where there is a trend line, sessions, descriptions. Now, step 1 for implementation of BOS. The first step is involve the users in the measurement. That means team members should collect data, numbers. For example, total product produced per hour, per shift, per day, per week, depending upon the company, depending upon the product they are making. What is the average time to produce 1 unit? What is the BPM? What is the scrap percentage of total produced, changeover time, downtime? So these are the basic data that should be collected, but this data should be collected by the user who is actually working on the machine and not by some other person. Because if some other person is being used for this activity, then there is a possibility that data may be not current, or some necessary input may be not able to, he will not be able to track it out. The step 2 is team determines what to BOS chart. That means team determines what to we have to focus, or what is our shortcomings and what things we need to improve on. That team should determine. Something needing improvement, team has control, or that BOS determination may be on the factor what is important to customer and what is important to the company. So what BIOS chart we want to display or monitor is depending upon the customer requirement, maybe a customer company requirement, or something which is not going as per plan, needs improvement, so the team should implement. Here I am focusing more on the word team because BOS means if the team who is actually working on the shop floor is not involved, then this activity will not be able to give the result which we are accepting or opting for. So team is the key crux out of this slides. The third is team members only update BOS. That means the person should be updating the BOS on a regular basis, and on that basis and on those updations, the team should be having that meeting to study data, plan improvements, and everyone participate. And the last one is computers not required. So everything should be in form of visual, manual, live update, live data through pen, pencil, paper only. No computers are required. And if this happens, then we can have a meeting of the team over there, and they can form a improvement plans based on that meeting. Many of the companies have termed this activity as war room activity. War room means they display all the relevant data with respect to improvement required on the shop floor, and they carry out analysis, thought process, everything in that war room, and then come out with the solutions. And the current data is being fed into the system on a regular basis. No system, no computer is required in this activity. And the fourth one is make BOS results visible at the development. So whatever we are doing, that should be easily visible and mandate, so that everyone who is working on the line should be able to see what is going wrong, where we are heading, what is the team effort, what is the contribution of each team member, and what extra need to be done to sustain what we have achieved. To develop visual measures on our shop floor line, we need to decide is what need to be measured. हमें क्या चाहिए? Who is the user or audience for whom we are doing this measurement activity, and who will be the user of this measurement activity? How often do we take the data? We need to take data on hourly basis, 4 hourly basis, shift wise basis, weekly basis. That need to be defined to make our visual measures more effective. That is who will do the tracking. So we need to define responsibilities also. Who will be the person who will be doing the tracking, taking data? That we need to also define. How will we display data so that it speaks? So that means our agenda is that data should speak for us, not the man should speak for us. So whosoever is coming to the shop floor, if he sees that BOS sheets and charts, he should be able to identify where we stand, what are our shortcomings, what are we doing for this improvements, and how the team is performing with respect to improvements. Then this should be spoken by the data sheets visible on the shop floor rather than the person, and that is the ultimate motive of visual management system. And lastly, where do we best locate the display? Because this display is meant for everyone, and the team should be identifying the best location for this display. So any question with respect to this visual measures, please you may ask. Is there any color IS code of practice on color coding? Mr. Heather has asked. Mr. Heather, there is no such color coding practices with respect to IS code. Companies can follow their own color codes, but there are few generalized color code being available to the companies. For example, in case of water line, we follow red, sorry, blue, dark blue. For our safety line, we follow red color. so that those colors are available for, but inside for your colony map you can follow any colors, but that color should not be to be standardized. So that color should be made available to each one of them. They should be displayed, and each person of the company or the plant should be having same color coding. There is a possibility that you may be having different many plants, for example. Okay, there is a possibility you may be having many plants. So the best thing is that one of the plant make standards and ask other plants to follow those standards. Otherwise, what will happen is each plant may be having different color coding standard, and that will be difficult for to follow as a group level. So the MR of the plant or the whosoever is the top management authority, he should be instructing the team that we will follow the same color codes across all plants, and that will be good for plant also. Can we get the details of Kanban implementation? So Kanban session we have arranged after a few days with respect to this TPS series. So you may join that session and get the details of Kanban over there. This question was put up by Mr. Arun Kumar. Mr. Kamendra Kumar, sir, any software to measure visuals? Not such software, but there are few tabs available. Mini tab is there to help you out in getting data collection and data interpretation. That is available, but for visual display measures, there is no such available. Analysis can be done by software, but not otherwise. Any other question? Shall we proceed? Look, if you have any questions, any doubts with respect to this topic, okay. Mr. Rishikesh Hire, can you elaborate on Minitab? Actually, Minitab is one of the software available in the market, which is supporting the Six Sigma activity. Okay, and this Minitab is being taught by the companies who offer Six Sigma or other this such courses, because this software helps us to do the data intervention activity in a much faster way. For example, we make Pareto analysis, Pareto charts through Excel also, but that takes time. Through Minitab, you can do this activity at a much faster rate. So those analysis of that data is being done at Minitab level. Otherwise, we can do otherwise also at using simple systems also. But this Minitab is a software available in the market, and you can buy it also. You can go for training also if required. Any other question, please? What I was telling was, if you have any doubt with respect to this webinar, or you have any questions, you may also write to us. You will be getting a mail out of our system in a day's time, where you can put up your question if required at later stage also. So I'm moving to next topic, which is a module 5. The last phase is implementation of visual management system in our company. We started with workplace organization, wherein we say our organization should be such wherein visual management activities can be done. Then there is a visual display, what to display, how to display, then visual measures, which are things we should be measuring, and what are the data we should be measuring. Next, last phase is visual management. Visual management says using the information provided by visuals to make informed and proper decisions on judgments daily. So whatever data we are displaying, whatever information we are displaying for the benefit of our team, okay, that will be helping us to make decisions or judgments on the basis of those data. That is actually the purpose of visual management. Management means by means of visual inputs, we do management of our systems. A visual management factory is a workplace that is easily understood by all. Anyone could walk into the work unit and at a glance understand the state of the work unit, what is waste or abnormal, and where improvements are needed. So what I was telling was you earlier also, a visually management factory is that we don't need any support from any of the person working over there to understand how this unit is performing. The data being displayed over the line should be easily understood by all. And if someone walks into the unit or a plant and at a glance goes to the displays being put up over there, he may be able to identify what is the improvement areas this plant is working on, and what are the gaps for which this plant or unit is actually planning to have further improvements. Vision is if you walk into a work unit or a facility on Sunday, no one is around and nothing is running, would you be able to understand the status of that work unit? That means if a person is coming to a plant on Sunday or any holiday and no one is in the plant and he is standing at any of the stations or a workplace, and would he be able to understand how you are performing or how your plant is running? That is a vision. He shouldn't be seeking any support or manual advice, manual intervention with respect to understanding the status of that work unit. The visual management status is distinguish between what is and what is not normal, make waste and abnormalities obvious to everyone, consistently uncover needs for improvement, help make each person's job easier and involve everyone. So visual management, what I am talking about is that there should be such a open environment in the plant wherein every person is being involved in this improvement activity. He is able to see, visualize what are the gray areas, what are the improvement areas in our workplace. He should be able to complement or support the team activity in terms of improvement. Whatever abnormalities is there in the plant with respect to maybe quality, maybe safety, maybe productivity, that is gap is made available to everyone, and each one is complementing or contributing from itself to make the plant more productive. So one of the gentlemen was asking whether we are having this activity of 6 years program for today with respect to loss or improvement activity also. So I cannot say that visual management will be, this program is only for this loss activity or loss improvement activity or waste improvement activity. But once you follow visual management, then there is a surety that whatever losses you are having with respect to plants in your plant, that losses or abnormalities will be catered to more effectively and efficiently, and soon your plant will be able to tide off the difficulties or abnormalities in a more effective way and a more collaborated way with the support of team members. So visual management is actually a supportive tool to make your plant more effective. And once you are going back after this COVID effect, okay, you may think that you are entering a new plant and you may shed off few of your previous experiences and try to involve team and make your plant more visual, so that from the day one they may be able to get accustomed to this new inputs being given today, and they will be helping you to make your losses redundant. So visual management can be for workplace, for safety, for operations, for equipment, for quantity. As I was telling you earlier also, for example, if a machine is telling you about when was he stopped, who was last the person who was working on it, when was the last preventive maintenance done on the machine, what are the vibration level, that means that equipment is telling by herself or him that what is the status. So that level of intervention or visuals we require at our shop floor level, so that we can be more productive, more quality. Few examples: production counters, downtime, uptime clocks, changeover clocks, DOS charts. These are the few examples we can start immediately on returning back to our plants once this lockdown period gets over, and this will be immediate relief, providing you immediate relief to get more effective, efficient once this difficult times gets over. One of the example is target is 1914, actually 1925. That means you are on target, band target, and that means you are rightly working at the same pace as required by the company. Here you can see a loss of 4 products or so 4 production. So the operator will be able to see when to react, how to react, and make up the production loss. Here you can see an example of display on the machine, normal, approaching, exceeding. So that means your temperature is more than required. Yellow means it's approaching the danger level. Green means okay level. So these are few examples of visual measurement. Here you can see counters also. And the question is, do our visuals give the information needed to make proper decisions? These questions I am putting to you. If yes, good. If no, then you have much task to do. So first question is, give you the information needed to make proper decisions. If yes, it's good. If no, then we need to have more information from the visuals which we have put up on the shop floor level. Make abnormalities and problems obvious. Second question, if abnormalities and problems are made obvious by the visuals, it's good and we can work upon or for betterment. If not, then we should go for further improvements. Promote communication and employee involvement. Our third question to you, make everyone's job easier. Recognize achievements and improvements. We as human beings are very, you can say, hungry for reward and recognition. Okay, so whatever we do, if we are not recognized for our achievements, then we immediately step back and get demotivated. So recognition for achievements and improvements should also be one of the visuals management formats so that the team gets motivated. The things for you to do. The visual management checklist and implementation. The first is, do you have a visual factory checklist? As you can see on the shop floor. The first, for example, is changeover tools are within reach. Tooling is well organized. Machines or equipment are clean and painted. Then you can, in the below part, you can see business department display visible. Standard changeover clock is visible. Parts counter are displayed. So this is a few you can say points of checklist which you can see. This is only an example. You may be having a more elaborative checklist depending upon the working factories you are working with, but there should be a visual factory checklist so that you are at which place or which stature with respect to visual management you should be made available to you. So our target should be, we should be having 100% compliance of this visual factory checklist. Then there may be a visual factory implementation plan. Activities for first week, second week, third week, fourth week. What we want to do, who would be doing this, so that within a time frame of maybe 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, depending upon the area we want to cover and the company we want to change. Okay, that plan should be made available to everyone. So the question, last question I put to you is, what is the target for you? The target for the team, your company, your organization, yourself should be except man, everything in the company should talk. And if this happens, then there is a possibility that ratio of operator and supervisor can be changed. That means ratio of man to operator to supervisor can be changed, because we don't need man to speak. We want system to speak for us. We want visuals to speak for us, and that is possible. Thank you. Open to questions, please. Any question, please? One thing more, I would like to have a feedback from all of you regarding this webinar. You'll be getting a mailer from our side for your queries, for your questions, and for your feedback also. We want to be more in a learning stage, so that whatever inputs you get, we get from this, from you, all of you, we will try to incorporate in this webinar so that it can be more beneficial for the industry, because we as an organization want to devote more of our time for this improvement activity. Mr. Varun has asked, would it be possible to get your contact details? Yes, you will be able to get our details through mail. You will be getting a reminder from our IT cell. You can connect with us. To make you more aware about our working, we not only do webinars or trainings, we also support organizations in getting these visuals management practices implemented in the plants. So if you want that we support you in this endeavor, we can also work with you to support you in this implementation of these practices. For any queries, you can write to us through that mail itself only whenever you are feel comfortable. Okay, some of you have asked that will this PPT be made available to you? So that will be you can share with Mr. Himanshu. He will be connecting to us. Okay, and you will be able to get whatever is possible from our side. Ms. Papya Bhardwaj has written, how will this help in solar plants? Look, whatever plant you are working with, okay. For example, I will give a simple example. Solar plant may be having certain capacity defined, designed. So what you need to do is you need to put up in a visual format what design capacity this plant was, how effectively it is working, what is the load factor. All these things can be taken care. So that depends. Mr. Rakesh Agarwal, advanced 5S practices, garden green, hospital clean. I am not able to get Mr. Rakesh. What do you want to say with respect to this? But advanced 5S practices, garden green, hospital clean, this all we can, these are lined up in our subsequent webinars, which are coming up in few days. So if you want that these topics should be covered under those, or you want specific topics to be taken in webinars, you may suggest to us, we may plan a webinar according to that also. That is possible. Anything else from any participant? Request you, all of you, to please share your feedbacks for our learning, also for our endeavor to get more effective with respect to helping industry. So I think I told all of you that many of you are asking for this PDF format for this webinar. You may write to Mr. Himanshu. We have shared. We will discuss within the team and get back to you whether we can share this PDF or not. But you must write to us so that we can think over it once. Any other question, any other query, you may please write also, right now also, or later stage also. That is most, you are most welcome. Okay, thank you all of you. Hope many of you must be joining in the subsequent webinars also. We are planning a webinar on SMED and inventory control on 21st of April. And they will be sharing you a case study also by one of our cluster members who have benefited out of this SMED concept. So if you are willing to join, you may please join and write to Himanshu for this. Thank you so much.